I just thought of another story. I remember my dad telling me this story, well, years and years ago. He passed away in 1988, my dad did, when I was 20, so it's a long time ago now, but he told me this story, and this story happened in the 1950s when he had a business installing television antennas and doing television repairs. Anyway, he went out to the country to a farm and he installed a television antenna. And it was an old man's house, and basically this old farmhouse consisted of a couple of small rooms downstairs, one of which was a kitchen, and then there was a loft upstairs for sleeping. And the loft was accessed by a ladder, like what you used to see, what you'd see in the old TV programs, like Little House on the Prairie or whatever, when the kids would go to bed and they'd climb a ladder to get into the loft in the cabin. It was that sort of a thing. Anyway, my dad, he put up the TV antenna for the old fella, and then he was invited to stay for supper with the old fella and his grandchildren, which my dad did. And then after supper, the old farmer, he told the grandchildren, he said, "Okay, all right, now you kids get up there into the bed and go to sleep. It's time for you to go to sleep. It's bedtime." So the kids, they went upstairs anyway. They went up the ladder one by one, and anyway, then the old farmer, he offered my dad a beer. So he and my dad were sitting at the table drinking beer, talking about this and that and the other thing. And you could hear the children upstairs crying. And the old man, I should warn you, there's going to be some profanity here, because the old man did swear he took the Lord's name in vain, and in order to tell the story, I'm going to have to say what he said. But anyway, the kids were up. He could hear them crying anyway, the old man could. Well, my dad could hear them too. You could hear them crying. And the old man yelled up to them. He says, "Here now," he said, "what's going on up there? Why are you kids crying?" Up there, he said, "I can hear you up there crying. Why are you crying?" And one of the kids yelled down at him and said, "Well, we're scared, Papa, we're scared." "Oh," he said, "what are you scared of?" "Well, we're just scared. We're up here by ourselves in the dark and we're scared. We're up here all alone and we're scared." And the old man says, he says, you don't need to be scared." He said, "You're not alone up there. Goddamn boogeyman's up there with you." Well, I guess the kids all came down that ladder real quick anyway. Probably wasn't the best thing to say, but that's what he said anyway. My dad, he laughed about that. He told that story and he just laughed, remembering it. He said, you don't need to be scared. You're not alone up there. Goddamn boogeyman's up there with you." Down they came anyway. I say normally I do curse a little bit, but I try not to take the Lord's name in vain. That's kind of that's a place I don't go normally. But in order to tell the story, I had to do that anyway. But that's it. My camera's cutting me off now. God's mad at me for taking his name in vain, so the camera says enough of that. Anyway, he says, "I'm shutting you